In the years leading up to Bitcoin's emergence, the global economy was reeling from the 2008 financial crisis. Central banks responded with unprecedented monetary policies to stabilize markets. However, these measures highlighted the fragility of fiat systems and underscored the need for innovative financial instruments. Simultaneously, rising geopolitical tensions and escalating costs of covert operations created a pressing demand for alternative funding mechanisms.
Hey guys, have you ever wondered who really created Bitcoin? Was it a lone genius with a vision for decentralization, or something much more sinister? Welcome to the investigation into Bitcoin's origins and its shadowy connections to government operations. It all started back in 2008 with the pseudonymous Satoshi Nakamoto introducing Bitcoin to the world. But who is Nakamoto? Despite countless theories, their identity remains a mystery. The enigma only adds to the intrigue, leaving us to wonder, could Bitcoin be more than just a digital currency? Now imagine this. Bitcoin wasn't created by some libertarian idealist, but by shadowy government organizations. Think about it. Bitcoin's decentralized nature makes it perfect for covert operations and financial surveillance. What better way to fund secret projects or monitor global transactions without leaving a trace? Let's talk about Bitcoin mining. Have you heard of shadow territories like Transnistria and Donbass? These regions operating outside recognized governments use Bitcoin mining to evade sanctions and fund influence operations. It's like a digital Wild West out there. And here's a twist. Tether, the stablecoin company, is heavily investing in Bitcoin mining infrastructure in El Salvador. Their CEO is preparing for global disasters, securing assets through Bitcoin. Is it a hedge against global uncertainties or something more? El Salvador's volcanic Bitcoin mining is another fascinating piece of the puzzle. Utilizing geothermal energy from volcanoes, they've adopted Bitcoin as legal tender and plan to issue volcano bonds to fund Bitcoin City. Could this be a model for future crypto hubs? Finally, let's explore Bitcoin as shadow money. Its decentralized nature disrupts traditional financial systems, posing regulatory challenges. Governments and criminal organizations alike find it attractive for its anonymity. So what do you think? Is Bitcoin a genius creation or part of a grand government conspiracy? The mysterious origins and potential covert uses of Bitcoin continue to fuel speculation. Stay curious and keep questioning. Thanks for watching.
Technological advancements and increasing global instability pushed governments to seek alternatives. An ideal solution would create wealth without devaluing existing currency, operate outside public scrutiny, be difficult to trace and regulate, appeal to the private sector to ensure its widespread adoption, provide a mechanism for cross-border transactions that bypass conventional banking systems and enable granular monitoring of financial flows to trace spending patterns and identify key players in the global economy. Bitcoin's unique design and functionality seem to address these needs perfectly. Its decentralized nature prevents direct governmental control, while its pseudonymity offers a level of privacy appealing to both individuals and institutions. Moreover, the potential for massive wealth generation through mining and speculative trading presented a lucrative opportunity for entities with the foresight to capitalize on it early. An analysis of Bitcoin's codebase reveals meticulous planning and foresight. The blockchain's implementation demonstrates expertise in cryptography, game theory, and distributed systems. While some attribute this to an exceptionally talented individual, others argue that such precision suggests a team of experts with significant resources, possibly linked to government-backed institutions like the NSA or DARPA. Bitcoin's fixed supply of 21 million coins positions it as a digital equivalent to gold. Its scarcity creates inherent value, making it an attractive reserve asset for organizations looking to hedge against fiat inflation or economic collapse. By adopting Bitcoin early, shadow organizations could amass significant reserves at minimal cost, securing a financial buffer for future contingencies.
Governments have long relied on fiat currency and gold reserves to manage economies, but both come with inherent limitations. Printing more fiat currency devalues existing money, leading to inflation. Meanwhile, gold is a finite resource requiring costly mining operations. In the years leading up to Bitcoin's emergence, the global economy was reeling from the 2008 financial crisis. Central banks responded with unprecedented monetary policies like quantitative easing to stabilize markets. However, these measures highlighted the fragility of fiat systems and underscored the need for innovative financial instruments. Fast forward to 2025, fiat currencies are still susceptible to inflation, especially during economic stress. Gold, while a safe haven, has growth limitations and involves significant costs. Increasing demand for state resources, both public and covert, puts further strain on these traditional financial mechanisms. Enter Bitcoin. Its decentralized nature operates outside central bank control, addressing many of fiat currency's limitations. Bitcoin's pseudonymity offers a degree of privacy, while its potential for wealth generation through mining and trading presents a lucrative opportunity. Bitcoin's blockchain ensures transparency while maintaining anonymity, making it suitable for both overt and covert operations. The fixed supply of 21 million Bitcoins creates scarcity, positioning it as a potential digital equivalent to gold. Geopolitical instability and rising tensions drive demand for alternative assets like Bitcoin. Government economic policies, including monetary easing and potential trade wars, can significantly impact the value of traditional and alternative assets. Predictions for 2025 suggest significant Bitcoin price increases, driven by government acceptance, regulatory clarity, and strategic reserves. The US treating Bitcoin as a strategic asset, and nations adding Bitcoin to their balance sheets signal a shift from speculative to actual use. In conclusion, Bitcoin presents a compelling alternative to traditional financial instruments. Its decentralized nature, fixed supply, and potential for wealth generation make it a strong candidate for replacing fiat currency and gold as a reserve asset. But remember, the cryptocurrency market is volatile and subject to rapid change. Continuous monitoring and further research are essential. Stay informed and invest wisely.
Bitcoin's design is strikingly methodical. From its reliance on SHA-256, a cryptographic hash function developed by the NSA, to the deliberate pacing of block rewards, every aspect appears carefully engineered. For instance, the halving mechanism that reduces mining rewards over time mirrors strategies to induce artificial scarcity, a hallmark of strategic economic planning. Bitcoin's creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, could represent a collaborative effort among cryptographic experts working under a governmental or supranational directive. This theory gains traction when considering the interdisciplinary knowledge required to create Bitcoin, ranging from cryptography to behavioral economics. The timeline of Bitcoin's release, coinciding with the global financial crisis, further suggests a premeditated response to systemic economic vulnerabilities. Satoshi's early communications exhibit an unusual mix of technical precision and strategic ambiguity. The white paper, Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, outlines a revolutionary concept while avoiding direct confrontations with existing financial systems. Satoshi's departure from active development, citing a pivot to other interests, only deepens the mystery. Was this an intentional exit to obscure the true origins? Satoshi mined 1 million Bitcoins. This stash, largely untouched, could serve as a financial reserve for future operations. If Bitcoin were indeed a government project, these funds could act as a covert treasury. Blockchain analysis shows these early blocks demonstrate mining activity indicative of centralized control during Bitcoin's infancy. This strategic concentration ensured the network's security while amassing a significant reserve. Bitcoin's design incorporates features that seem tailored for resilience in adversarial environments. Its decentralized architecture and proof-of-work consensus mechanism make it inherently resistant to censorship and tampering. This robustness aligns with objectives of state-level actors seeking a financial system immune to external interference. The choice to remain pseudonymous could have been strategic. By avoiding identification, Satoshi's anonymity prevents direct association with any entity, allowing Bitcoin to gain traction as an independent, grassroots movement. If a government entity or coalition were involved, this layer of obfuscation would serve as a masterstroke in ensuring plausible deniability.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most intriguing mysteries of the digital age, Satoshi Nakamoto. Who is the enigmatic creator of Bitcoin, and could they be a front for a government project? Let's start with the clues hidden in the code. Bitcoin's codebase is incredibly sophisticated, showcasing expertise in cryptography, game theory, and distributed systems. Some say it's the work of a genius, but others argue it could be a team of experts, possibly linked to institutions like the NSA or DARPA. Consider the use of SHA-256, a cryptographic hash function developed by the NSA, or the halving mechanism that reduces mining rewards over time. Classic strategic economic planning. It's almost too perfect to be the work of a lone coder. Now, let's talk about the collaborative theory. Researchers believe Satoshi might represent a group of cryptographic experts working under a governmental directive. The timing of Bitcoin's release during the global financial crisis suggests it could be a premeditated response to economic vulnerabilities. Satoshi's early communications are another puzzle piece. The white paper for Bitcoin is revolutionary, yet avoids direct confrontation with existing financial systems. And Satoshi's sudden departure from active development, was it to keep the true origins hidden? Here's another twist. Satoshi mined about 1 million Bitcoins in the early days. This stash remains untouched. Could it be a covert financial reserve for future operations? Early mining patterns, known as the Satoshi pattern, show centralized control, ensuring network security and amassing a significant reserve. Bitcoin's design is built for resilience in adversarial environments. Its decentralized architecture and proof-of-work mechanism make it resistant to censorship and tampering. This aligns with state-level objectives for a financial system immune to external interference. Finally, the choice to remain pseudonymous might have been strategic. By staying anonymous, Satoshi prevented direct association with any entity, allowing Bitcoin to flourish as an independent movement. If a government or coalition was involved, this obfuscation would ensure plausible deniability. So, what do you think? Could Satoshi Nakamoto be a government project? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
The Earth's supervolcanoes like Yellowstone have the potential to trigger catastrophic global climate events, disrupting agriculture, economies, and civilization itself. The likelihood of such an event, though rare, is significant enough to warrant serious preparation. Volcanic eruptions release massive amounts of ash and sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, which can lead to a volcanic winter. Such an event would drastically reduce sunlight, cooling the planet and severely impacting food production. Historical examples, such as the eruption of Mount Tambora in 1815, demonstrate how a single event can lead to global agricultural collapse and widespread famine. Modern technology and interconnected economies could exacerbate the impact of a supervolcano eruption. Supply chain disruptions, energy shortages, and geopolitical instability would follow, creating cascading crises that would overwhelm unprepared nations. Advanced modeling has revealed that certain supervolcanoes, like Toba in Indonesia and Yellowstone in the United States, possess the capacity to eject enough material to devastate entire continents and alter the global climate for decades. Protecting the wealthy elite and politically connected individuals from such a disaster requires massive infrastructure investments. Underground bunkers, self-sustaining energy systems, advanced filtration technology, and secure communication networks are among the necessities. Funding such infrastructure through conventional means would raise public suspicion. However, Bitcoin's decentralized nature provides an opaque mechanism to accumulate and transfer wealth. By fostering a thriving cryptocurrency market, shadow organizations could covertly finance these preparations without relying on traditional economic channels.
Hey there, preppers! Today I'm diving into a chilling topic that's both fascinating and terrifying. The volcanic apocalypse hypothesis. Imagine a supervolcano like Yellowstone erupting. It's not just a local disaster, it's a global catastrophe. When a supervolcano blows, it releases massive amounts of ash and sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. This creates a volcanic winter, blocking sunlight and dropping global temperatures. Agriculture would collapse and food production would plummet. Think of Mount Tambora in 1815, which caused the infamous year without a summer. Now our modern world is more interconnected than ever. Supply chain disruptions, energy shortages, and geopolitical instability would spiral out of control. Advanced modeling shows that supervolcanoes like Toba in Indonesia or Yellowstone could eject enough material to devastate entire continents and alter the global climate for decades. So, how do we prepare for such a scenario? For the wealthy elite and politically connected, it's about massive infrastructure investments. We're talking underground bunkers, self-sustaining energy systems, advanced filtration technology, and secure communication networks. But here's the twist. Funding these projects through conventional means would raise public suspicion. Enter Bitcoin. Its decentralized nature allows for opaque wealth accumulation and transfer. By fostering a thriving cryptocurrency market, shadow organizations can covertly finance these preparations without relying on traditional economic channels. So, what can you do? Stay informed, stay prepared, and consider the role of cryptocurrency in your own disaster preparedness strategies. The threat of a supervolcano eruption might seem distant, but the stakes are sky high. Until next time, stay safe and stay ready. Thanks for watching.
In 1996, the NSA published a paper titled, How to Make a Mint, The Cryptography of Anonymous Electronic Cash. This document outlined many of the foundational concepts later seen in Bitcoin. Could this indicate the NSA's involvement in Bitcoin's creation? Some argue that the precision of Bitcoin's cryptographic underpinnings, particularly its use of SHA-256, suggests a connection to the NSA's expertise in cryptography. The NSA has a long history of developing advanced cryptographic systems for both national security and broader technological applications. SHA-256, for example, was designed by the NSA and adopted as a standard by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST. Bitcoin's reliance on this hash function raises questions about whether its inclusion was a deliberate choice or a covert signal of governmental involvement. DARPA has a history of pioneering cutting-edge technologies, including the Internet. Their expertise in cryptography, distributed systems, and decentralized networks makes them a plausible contributor to Bitcoin's development. DARPA's research into distributed ledger technologies predates Bitcoin's creation, with projects focused on secure communication, autonomous systems, and network resilience. One key aspect of DARPA's involvement in emerging technologies is its ability to fund and coordinate collaborative efforts between academia, private industry, and government agencies. Such collaborations often result in transformative innovations, such as the ARPANET, which laid the groundwork for the Internet. If DARPA played a role in Bitcoin's development, it would likely have been through a similar partnership, leveraging expertise from multiple disciplines to create a resilient and secure digital currency. Early Bitcoin mining required minimal computational power, but as the network grew, mining became more resource-intensive. Some researchers speculate that large-scale mining farms linked to government-affiliated entities may have been operational from the outset, accumulating significant Bitcoin reserves. These reserves could serve as a covert financial instrument for funding classified projects or responding to economic crises. Evidence of such operations includes patterns of early mining activity that suggest coordination and resource allocation beyond what independent enthusiasts could achieve. This includes the Satoshi pattern, which reveals concentrated mining efforts in Bitcoin's early days. If these efforts were government-backed, they would have provided a head start in amassing Bitcoin's limited supply, ensuring strategic control over a substantial portion of the currency. Governments and their affiliates may also play a role in shaping public perceptions of Bitcoin. By promoting narratives of decentralization and anonymity, they could encourage adoption while masking their involvement. This dual strategy of fostering trust among users while retaining influence over the ecosystem aligns with traditional methods of covert influence used by intelligence agencies.
Bitcoin, it's the cryptocurrency everyone's talking about, but where did it come from? The answer is shrouded in mystery. We know its creator used the name Satoshi Nakamoto, but was this a person, a group, or something else entirely? The mystery has fueled some wild theories. Some even believe governments might be involved. I know, sounds like something out of a bad Jason Bourne film. But let's dive into this rabbit hole, shall we? The decentralized nature of Bitcoin just adds to the intrigue. No central bank, no government control. It's the financial equivalent of the Wild West, only with fewer cowboy hats and more lines of code. This anonymity has led some to believe that Bitcoin's creation was no accident, but a carefully orchestrated plan. But who would have the resources, the motive, and the sheer audacity to pull it off? Let's talk about the NSA. They are basically the cryptographic wizards of the government. These folks love their codes, and they're really good at making them. Back in 1996, they published a paper that raised some eyebrows. It was titled, How to Make a Mint, the Cryptography of Anonymous Electronic Cash. And guess what? It outlined many of the concepts that would later be found in Bitcoin. Coincidence, maybe. Or maybe the NSA was planting the seeds for a digital currency they could control. Now, I'm not saying the NSA created Bitcoin, but it's hard to ignore their expertise in cryptography. They know this stuff inside and out, and let's not forget, the NSA is all about security. They love to spy on people, track data, and generally know everything about everyone. A decentralized, anonymous currency like Bitcoin could be a dream come true for an agency like the NSA. Or maybe they just like to dabble in cutting-edge technology in their spare time. Who knows? DARPA. It stands for the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. And they're basically the Pentagon's mad scientists. They love to invent crazy new technologies. Remember the internet? Yeah, that was DARPA. So it's not a huge leap to think they might be involved with Bitcoin too. They've got the brains, the resources, and the track record. DARPA has always been interested in distributed networks. And guess what Bitcoin is? A distributed network. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe DARPA saw the potential of this technology early on. Imagine a world where the US government has a secret stash of Bitcoin. They could fund covert operations, manipulate markets, and buy a lot of delicious snacks. The possibilities are endless. So did the NSA or DARPA create Bitcoin? The truth is we don't know, and that's what makes this whole thing so intriguing. It's a mystery wrapped in an enigma, sprinkled with a dash of paranoia. Maybe Satoshi Nakamoto was just a brilliant lone wolf toiling away in obscurity. Or maybe, just maybe, there's more to the story than meets the eye. The evidence is circumstantial. There's no smoking gun, no signed confession. But the possibility of government involvement is too tantalizing to ignore. It's a conspiracy theorist dream come true. So the next time you buy a pizza with Bitcoin, remember this. Somewhere out there, someone might be watching, counting their digital coins and laughing all the way to the blockchain.
Bitcoin's meteoric rise owes much to media coverage and public perception. By portraying Bitcoin as a revolutionary financial technology, governments could foster widespread adoption. Early adoption by tech enthusiasts, libertarians, and investors helped legitimize the currency. Key media campaigns may have been strategically designed to frame Bitcoin as the ultimate financial innovation, appealing to audiences across ideological divides. By targeting libertarians and tech enthusiasts, Bitcoin gained a devoted user base willing to champion its merits. Meanwhile, market forces were subtly influenced through carefully timed narratives about Bitcoin's potential, fostering a sense of urgency and fear of missing out, FOMO, among investors. Governments worldwide have adopted inconsistent approaches to Bitcoin regulation. This lack of clarity creates an environment where Bitcoin can thrive while maintaining plausible deniability of state involvement. Strategic regulation ensures the ecosystem remains functional but does not threaten traditional financial systems. For example, selective enforcement of anti-money laundering, AML, and Know Your Customer, KYC, regulations allows governments to exert indirect control over exchanges and wallets without stifling innovation. This balancing act provides governments with the ability to monitor and guide Bitcoin's adoption trajectory while avoiding public backlash over overt interference. In recent years, the involvement of institutional investors and major financial entities has further legitimized Bitcoin. Governments could play a behind-the-scenes role in facilitating these adoptions, ensuring the currency's integration into mainstream financial systems. Institutional backing not only stabilizes Bitcoin's price but also amplifies its global reach, making it indispensable for cross-border transactions and large-scale investments. Public and private initiatives advocating blockchain technology and cryptocurrency adoption may also be part of a coordinated strategy. Educational programs, conferences, and industry events help demystify Bitcoin while encouraging technological development. Governments may discreetly support these efforts, framing them as grassroots movements to distance themselves from direct association.
Hey everyone, in today's video I'm diving into the secret role of media in Bitcoin's meteoric rise. Ever wondered how this digital currency went from an obscure concept to a global phenomenon? Let's break it down. Bitcoin's journey to the top has a lot to do with media coverage and public perception. Think about it. The media framed Bitcoin as a revolutionary financial technology, turning it into a household name. This portrayal helped governments foster widespread adoption by presenting Bitcoin as the future of finance. Early on, tech enthusiasts, libertarians, and savvy investors jumped on the Bitcoin bandwagon. Their enthusiasm and early adoption helped legitimize the currency, making it more appealing to the general public. Media campaigns played a crucial role here. They were strategically designed to highlight Bitcoin's potential, appealing to people across all walks of life. By targeting libertarians and tech geeks, Bitcoin gained a loyal user base ready to champion its cause. But it wasn't just the media. Market forces were also at play, with carefully timed narratives creating a sense of urgency and FOMO among investors. Now let's talk about regulation. Governments around the world have taken different approaches to Bitcoin regulation, often leaving things a bit ambiguous. This lack of clarity has actually helped Bitcoin thrive. Strategic regulation keeps the ecosystem functional without threatening traditional financial systems. For instance, selective enforcement of anti-money laundering and know your customer regulations allows governments to exert control without stifling innovation. It's a balancing act that lets Bitcoin grow while avoiding public backlash. Institutional adoption has also been a game changer. Major financial entities and institutional investors have jumped in, further legitimizing Bitcoin. This backing not only stabilizes Bitcoin's price, but also expands its global reach, making it indispensable for large-scale investments and cross-border transactions. Finally, educational and advocacy efforts have played a part too. Public and private initiatives like educational programs and industry events help demystify Bitcoin and encourage technological development. Governments might be discreetly supporting these efforts, framing them as grassroots movements to distance themselves from direct association. So there you have it. The media, market forces, regulatory ambiguity, institutional adoption, and educational efforts all play a role in Bitcoin's rise. Stay tuned for more insights, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.
Though Bitcoin transactions are pseudonymous, blockchain analysis reveals patterns that suggest large-scale, coordinated movements of funds. These patterns often align with geopolitical events, hinting at potential government involvement. Blockchain technology enables detailed tracking of transactions through public ledgers. Researchers have observed instances of whale wallets, addresses holding substantial amounts of Bitcoin, engaging in synchronized transfers coinciding with geopolitical developments or economic crises. Such activity raises questions about whether these movements are the actions of independent actors or coordinated state-backed initiatives. Shadow organizations often utilize shell companies and tax havens to obscure financial activities. Bitcoin provides an additional layer of obfuscation, enabling seamless cross-border transactions without traditional oversight. Bitcoin's compatibility with offshore banking systems and anonymous trading platforms facilitates covert financial flows. By combining these mechanisms, shadow entities can effectively bypass regulatory scrutiny while maintaining plausible deniability. Investigations have uncovered connections between Bitcoin transactions and offshore accounts linked to high-level geopolitical actors, suggesting its potential role in funding classified operations or covert infrastructure projects. Data from cryptocurrency exchanges often reveals peculiar trends. Certain exchanges exhibit disproportionate levels of high-value transactions during periods of international tension or significant policy announcements. Such spikes in activity could indicate coordinated efforts by entities with insider knowledge or strategic interests in leveraging Bitcoin's value. Bitcoin mixing services, or tumblers, add another layer of anonymity by breaking down transactions and reassembling them in randomized outputs. These services are frequently employed by individuals and organizations seeking to obscure the origins of their funds. Analysis of these patterns reveals clusters of activity that align with state-level funding priorities, such as military expenditures or infrastructure investments in strategic locations.
Bitcoin, it's digital cash, supposedly untraceable. Think of it like a private jet, but instead of cocaine and mistresses, it's mostly used by tech bros and libertarian uncles who think they're smarter than the government. But here's the thing, every Bitcoin transaction leaves a trail. That's where blockchain analysis comes in. It's like the NSA for cryptocurrency, but instead of listening to your phone calls, they're tracking your digital dough. And believe me, they see everything. Every time you buy a pizza with Bitcoin, they know about it. Every time you donate to a website that promises to make your penis bigger, they know about it. Now, Bitcoin tries to hide your identity, but blockchain analysis can connect the dots. It's like figuring out who your neighbor is based on the garbage they leave out. Except in this case, the garbage is millions of dollars in cryptocurrency. And what are they finding? Oh, just a little light reading material about government intrigue, international money laundering, and maybe even some good old-fashioned tax evasion. It turns out Bitcoin isn't as anonymous as everyone thought. Who would have guessed? In the vast ocean of Bitcoin, there are big fish, and then there are whales. These aren't your average Joe Schmoes with a few Bitcoin to their name. We're talking about individuals or groups sitting on mountains of digital gold. Think Jeff Bezos, but instead of selling books, he's hoarding Bitcoin in a digital vault. Now, these whales aren't just passively watching their crypto grow, they're making moves, big moves. And when they move, the entire market feels the ripple effect. It's like if Bill Gates suddenly decided to sell all his Microsoft stock and buy Apple. The whole tech world would freak out. But here's the kicker. Sometimes these whale movements seem to coincide with major geopolitical events, like suspiciously coincide, almost as if someone knew something was about to go down and decided to make a quick buck, or a few million off of it. Is it just a coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe, just maybe, there's more to these whales than meets the eye. Are they shadowy government agencies manipulating the market? Are they rogue billionaires playing financial games on a global scale? We don't know for sure. But one thing's for certain. When the whales speak, the Bitcoin world listens. Remember those shell companies you hear about in spy movies, the ones with names like International Business Holdings that exist solely to move money around without anyone knowing who's pulling the strings? Well, they love Bitcoin. See, Bitcoin is like the Swiss Army knife of financial secrecy. It's easier to move across borders, difficult to trace, and even harder to seize. It's the perfect tool for anyone looking to hide their ill-gotten gains from the prying eyes of the law. And where do these shady characters go to set up shop? Tax havens, of course, those sunny little islands with lax regulations and even laxer morals. Places like the Cayman Islands, Panama, and the British Virgin Islands, they're like the VIP lounges for financial criminals. So you've got your shell companies, your tax havens, and your Bitcoin. Mix them all together, and you've got the perfect recipe for financial shenanigans. It's enough to make even the most seasoned financial investigator reach for the antacids. Cryptocurrency exchanges, they're like the Wild West of finance, only instead of saloons and shootouts, you've got people frantically buying and selling Bitcoin at 3 a.m. in their pajamas. It's chaos, but it's organized chaos. And just like in the Wild West, there are sheriffs in town trying to keep things in check. These are the blockchain analysts, and they're watching every move on these exchanges like hawks. They're looking for suspicious activity, unusual trading patterns, anything that might suggest something fishy is going on. And boy, do they find it. Sometimes it's a sudden surge in trading volume just before a major political announcement. Other times it's a series of complex transactions that seem designed to obfuscate the origin of the funds. It's like a financial puzzle, and these analysts are the ones trying to put the pieces together, but it's not easy. The world of cryptocurrency is constantly evolving, and the criminals are always finding new and creative ways to cover their tracks. It's a game of cat and mouse, and the stakes are high. Billions of dollars are at stake, and the fate of the global financial system might just hang in the balance. No pressure, guys!
While definitive proof remains elusive, the hypothesis that Bitcoin was created by shadow organizations within governments to fund preparations for a global volcanic apocalypse is not without merit. The convergence of technological innovation, economic necessity, and existential risk provides a compelling context for such a project. Whether or not this theory holds true, it underscores the profound implications of emerging technologies like Bitcoin. As we navigate an increasingly complex world, questions about power, control, and survival will continue to shape the narrative around innovation and its origins. For now, Bitcoin remains an enigma, one that may hold secrets far deeper than we can imagine.